Last week, you felt something ending internally. There was no drama attached to it, but it was final, and you knew it. And now, this week, asks you a different question. Hello, beautiful ones. I'm Cindi, astrologer, mystic, and your guide through the stars. And welcome to Forecast That Shift Timelines. This December 15th through the 21st astrology forecast isn't about more information. It's about what happens after your truth lands and your life hasn't caught up yet. So, last week brought you realization, not the loud kind, but the quiet kind that doesn't leave you. You didn't need another conversation to confirm it. You didn't need another sign from the universe. You just reached that internal place where the old explanation stopped working. And now here's the shift. This week doesn't bring more clarity, it brings pressure. Pressure to live differently now that you know what you know. This week, this is the kind of week where staying the same actually starts to feel more uncomfortable than taking a first step forward. And this is not because anyone is pushing you, but because something inside you already moved. This week's Sagittarius new moon doesn't arrive with a detailed plan. It arrives with direction. Sagittarius energy doesn't ask you to wait until you feel ready. It doesn't ask you to be perfect or confident. It asks you one very simple question. If this is true, then why are you still living like it isn't? This new moon doesn't care how long you've been trying. It doesn't care how patient you've been. It cares about integrity, about whether your life still matches what you say you believe, about whether your choices are aligned with what your body already knows. You may feel this as restlessness or as a desire to stop explaining yourself, or even as an internal line you're no longer willing to cross. And this is where the emotional pressure comes in. Jupiter in Cancer wants safety. It wants emotional continuity. It wants to protect what feels familiar, even if that is outdated. But Chiron and Eris in Aries are done shrinking. They represent the wound of having learned to make yourself smaller to keep the peace. So this week, you may feel pulled in two different directions. Part of you wants to stay emotionally safe, and the other part of you is done living a half life. This isn't about blowing anything up, and it's not about confrontation for its own sake. This is about noticing where you've been softening your truth to manage other people's comfort and realizing you don't want to do that anymore. This square can show up as irritation that disappears the moment you're honest, or guilt when you choose yourself, followed by relief, or even emotional reactions that surprise you because they're true and clean, cleaner than expected. Remember, all this is not chaos. It's what happens when you stop holding everything in. And then we have Neptune and Saturn, which are both direct now, forming that backdrop of this week. The illusion has already dissolved. The boundary has already been drawn. This week isn't about figuring that out. It's about noticing where your behavior hasn't caught up yet, where you're still acting out of habit instead of truth, or where you're still waiting for permission that isn't coming. This week may feel like a pressure in your chest or throat when you say, "I'm fine," but your body disagrees. Or maybe you'll have a low level irritability that vanishes the moment you tell the truth. Pay attention to that. Or even a strong desire to simplify, fewer conversations, fewer explanations, fewer obligations. Or even a quiet certainty that something has changed, even if nothing looks different yet. Remember, this isn't you being emotionally overwhelmed. It's a reset. Your nervous system is learning how to hold the truth without bracing for fallout. So, how do we work with this energy in a practical and grounded way? To work with this energy, I want you to pay attention to where you're protecting yourself out of habit instead of necessity. Okay, so pay attention to that this week. Notice where you say yes automatically and how your body responds afterwards. Also, you can choose one small action that aligns with what you already know. It's not a dramatic leap, don't do that. It's just one honest step. You don't need a full plan. You don't need certainty. Remember, Sagittarius doesn't ask for certainty. It asks for integrity. So if this week feels activating in your body, not confusing, but charged, there's a reason for that. And inside the inner pathway this week, we're working with that energy more directly through a deep dive into why clarity can create emotional friction. Then we'll do an embodiment practice using a new herbal ally and a neuro-based modality to help your body stay present under pressure. And we'll do a guided transmission to help you integrate the choices without urgency. The forecast shows you the moment, but the inner pathway helps your body live inside it. And remember, beautiful ones, last week showed you what was real. This week is asking you to stop living in between. You don't have to rush. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't even have to have it all figured out. You just have to stop crossing your own internal line. So until next time, beautiful one, remember, keep your frequency clear, your choices intentional, and your heart in the flow.